Whitewater slalom has a capital, it would be here in Slovakia. After winning 3 of the 4 possible gold medals at the Olympics last year in China, Slovakia is ready to play host to the 5th stage of the World Cup and the 2nd of 3 legs in whitewater slalom. The channel in Canoe is a ferocious challenge. Will the world's best canoeists and kayakers be ready? Stay tuned for Slalom World Cup action. The basic parameters of these 2 courses are length, 450 meters for the first one and 380 meters for the second one. The water drop at 6.6 meters at the bottom and 7 meters at the water level. There are 5 different combinations on the 2 tracks, and 2 of them are used the most often. The water flow is around 15 cubic meters. Canoe slalom is very popular in Slovakia, even if the number of our athletes and members is not that high at all. Even so, the ambitions of our athletes are very high, and all of them want to get to the international level. And I think in the last 13 years, they did very well. Looking at the count of our Olympic winners, I think we have what it takes. The women getting things started here on the whitewater course from Canoe. We'll be keeping our eye on Elena Kaliska, the reigning Olympic champion from Slovakia. Dropping in at the top of the course now is Li Jingjing. Remember, the object here in whitewater slalom is to paddle as fast as you can between those poles. You go upstream through the red ones, downstream through the green. You don't want to touch the poles. You get 2-second penalties if you touch the poles with your boat, body, or paddle. 50 seconds for missing a gate. Jingjing with a strong finish. Germany's Melanie Pfeiffer hoping to build off a great performance at the World Cup last week in France, carving into that upstream right there, using this powerful water. Look at that boat zip across the channel. Great work. The Slovakian crowd cheering her on to the finish. One of Slovakia's many medal hopes on the course now, Gabriela Stakarova, working her way around the first upstream gate, spinning her body around that green pole. You see a lot of different body types and a lot of different styles here in this whitewater slalom event. Gabriela, a real power paddler. She's just bulling through the whitewater, trying to find the best current. And the Slovakian fans are happy to applaud her. One of the athletes that these Slovak whitewater fans have come to see is this one, their own reigning Olympic champion, Elena Kaliska, pivoting around that green pole, making her way down through the course, trying to keep her boat high and dry on top of this churning whitewater and crashing waves, contorting her body around as she spins around that pole, putting together the package of power and finesse all into one, carving around that red upstream gate. These fans really love Elena. She gives so much back to the sports fans of Slovakia. She's so good with her time, talking to school kids, teaching younger paddlers the ins and outs of kayaking. But right now she is focused on the gates and the water here in Canoe and trying to get that first gold medal of the World Cup season, working her way to the finish line in front of an enthusiastic Slovak crowd. Great Britain's Louise Donington making her first appearance in the final of a World Cup event in 2009. Looking good, looking calm, looking relaxed, and just trying to use the water. So many of these athletes, they are trying to figure out how to capture the energy of this churning whitewater and to put it on their boat, make their job a little easier, doing a nice job of splitting the curling wave, working her way to the bottom of the course. A good day for Louise. Whitewater slalom is a tricky sport in which mistakes are bound to happen, like catching an edge right there, Katrina Lawrence from Australia. But the goal is to keep going to the finish and put those mistakes behind you. Nobody has challenged the Olympic champion in women's kayaking more than her own teammate. This Slovakian athlete, Jana Dukatova, trying to build upon another good World Cup performance last week in France, now paddling on her home course in Čunovo. Small little speed bobble there, but no problem working her way down the biggest drop of the course. Just big blinding waves all the way to the finish. You've got to know where you're going on this course, and Jana does. So it's Slovakia's Kaliska for gold, Australia's Lawrence for silver, and Slovakia's Dukatova for bronze. I'm very happy that I've done a good race at home. I've made a few mistakes, but anyway, I'm still satisfied with that. Whitewater racing continues here in Čunovo with the men's singles canoe anchored by Olympic champion Michael Martikon from Slovakia. Top of the course now from the United States, Ben Fraker, and in these canoes, the athletes are kneeling on two knees, using a one-bladed paddle. Same rules still apply. 2 seconds if you touch the poles, 50 seconds if you miss. Ben leaning on the back deck there. Good World Cup race for Ben. Slovenia's Benjamin Savsek dropping in at the top of the course, plowing his way through the curling wave and gets a little bit spun out. But in whitewater slalom, if your plan A doesn't work, you have a plan B and even a plan C if you need it. Benjamin had a good one there as he works his way to the big drop, through the crashing waves at the bottom, and capsizes and rolls up and still makes his way to the finish. Robin Bell was a part of the Australian Revolution at the Olympic Games in Beijing last year, taking a bronze medal. Very tall athlete. He works his best when he gets that paddle out in front of him. He's got a very tall upper torso. The paddle stays out in front of the boat, just pulling power through and keeps the boat on top of the waves very nicely. Good day in the finals for Robin. Perhaps the hardest working man in whitewater, Great Britain's David Florence paddles C2, and in the C1 right here, the Olympic silver medalist taking a 2-second penalty for touching those red poles. But you got to put those mistakes behind and keep working your way through the bottom of the course. That's what David's doing here. Good recovery. Germany's Jan Benzing wouldn't mind a repeat performance of last week where he took a gold medal at the World Cup in Pau, France. Different course here in Čunovo, a little more powerful water, got to read the river a little bit better. Jan coming into the big drop through the waves, nice high and dry line, good body movement, great paddling by the German. Slovakia's Mate Benes. Nice edge work as he comes into the eddy behind the red pole, using the water very nicely. Of course, he knows very well, trains on often, Čunovo. Good boat speed, patient, the fans are happy, good finish for Benes. The Solid World Cup really is the ultimate test of consistency. 3 different races in 3 weeks in 3 different venues. Making the finals is a big part of it for these athletes, and in his 2nd consecutive final, Spain's Ander Elosegui making nice work of the course here in Čunovo. Not a big overpowering guy, using the water very well, and a strong finish for the Spaniard. One athlete gaining confidence on this World Cup circuit is Slovakia's Alexander Slavkovsky, taking a 2-second penalty on that upstream gate. Can't let it be a distraction. He's put it behind him as he works his way into the big drop, where keeping your boat high and light and on top of the water where it can move the quickest to the finish. Alex is doing that perfectly. One of the most exciting canoeists on the circuit is the Czech Republic's Stanislav Ježek. Incredible flexibility and boat control, and has the ability to put those edges in the water, make the water work for him. Takes a 2-second penalty in the process there. feeling very comfortable, very good, super extension. And just look at that rotation of the body. Always an exciting paddler to watch on the World Cup circuit. The one man who knows every square centimeter of this whitewater channel here in Čunovo is the reigning Olympic champion from Slovakia, Michael Martikon, getting his boat into the middle of that wave train where the water is working for him. He is applying that compact style, keeping the paddle close to his body. Incredible boat control through this turbulent, violent whitewater. Makes it look like an easy Sunday paddle on the lake. Setting up for the big move through the curling wave. No problem there. Doesn't even slow down his boat speed at all. Making up for a poor result last week with a big gold medal performance right here. And leading a Slovak sweep in the men's single canoe is Michael Martikon with the gold, Alexander Slavkovsky with the silver, and Matis Benes with the bronze.
I'm very happy that we have such a great support from our spectators, and I'm happy to be in a team like this from Slovakia. We first time won all 3 medal positions, and I'm very happy today. I saw much more difficult course here in Čunovo. This one wasn't for me so difficult, but in every great races, in every important race like World Cups, World Championships, every course is difficult.
Well, I think it's a normal development in sport to have the women's classes respected in the same way as the men. So from the ICF side, we've supported the introduction and we support the participation of the teams and the athletes in the new event. What we're seeing now is that there's been very steep progression curve, and we're seeing some top athletes like Jana Dukatova, top in the K1. Yesterday we saw her in the qualification race here put down a clean run in the C1, which was of high standard. And today we saw Rosalind Lawrence from Australia doing the same thing, a very high quality run. So it's evolving, and progressively we would expect to see more women using the canoe in training and then saying, okay, now we're ready to engage in the competition. It will be on the program for the World Championship in 2010, and there will be athletes on the podium for C1 women at the World Championship. And if they want to participate and try and achieve the success there, then they need to start being active now. I think we'll see by the end of this year a lot more women doubling up to K1 and C1, which is great, and we'll see a few people who will specialise just in the canoe, which is what happens in the men.
An accomplished field of athletes fills out the men's kayak class at the World Cup here in Čunovo, led by Olympic champion from Germany, Alexander Grimm. First on the course is Poland's Dariusz Papiela, one of 2 Polish athletes racing in the World Cup final here in Čunovo. Here in the men's kayak class, where the athletes are sitting with their feet in front of them using 2-bladed paddles. Good day on the water for Dariusz. Now taking a look at the quiet, smooth, and silky style of French paddler Fabien Lefebvre, a style which carried him to a silver medal performance at the Olympics in Beijing last year. Just making this look so easy. Long strokes, patient, using the water just perfectly. A nice run by Fabien. Perhaps the man that prevented Slovakia from winning 4 gold medals at the Olympics last year, German Olympic gold medalist Alexander Grimm in the men's kayak. Very powerful paddler, not waiting at all for the water. He's going to take care of business on his own. Looking great on the channel in Čunovo. Dropping in at the top of the course, Austria's seasoned veteran and world medalist, Helmut Oettinger, who along with his wife, Violetta, Olympic bronze medalist from Beijing, welcomed their first son, Milo. There's the proud papa, smiling at the finish. A new look for an old star, the 2004 Olympic champion Benoit Péchier, then of France, now racing for the Greek team. And in his first final of the 2009 World Cup season, and also new for Benoit, he has brought some serious new power to his game. Look at him churn through the waves in turbulent whitewater here in Chunovo. Nice work for Benoit. Next on the course, blasting out of the start, Gregor Polaczek from Poland. Second of two Polish kayakers in the final here in Chunovo. It's always a good sign for the program when you can put more than one boat into the final, and the Polish have two athletes here. It's a good sign for a Polish team that is rebuilding and doing very well here in Chunovo today. Slovenia's Jure Meglik, upholding a great tradition of kayaking in his country, including his teammates' gold medal performance at the World Cup last week in France. Now shooting for a gold of his own, coming down the big drop. Pretty light, pretty finesse style that he's got going on the way to the finish. Good finals experience for Jure. Great Britain's Campbell Walsh coming through at the top of the course. Light, nimble, balanced, quick, and great body movement through that downstream flush gate where the green poles are parallel to the river current. Now back in the current and delighting his own teammates and coaches. Makes it easy. Now under the bridges and carving into the upstream gate on the right-hand side of the river, using the water to jet back to the left side of the river. He knows how to put the power on, knows how to back off and yield to the water and let the water do the work. It's a great complete package, and one that the British team hopes will pay off in the form of a gold medal at the Olympic Games in London. But first things first, going for a podium position here in Chunovo. Dropping in at the top of the course, Wawrinek, Rodilek from the Czech Republic. Very compact, powerful style, likes to paddle very close to the poles, doesn't give himself much room at all. Like right there, as he tries to head duck in behind that gate, he gets in but loses a lot of boat speed in the process, so he's got to get that boat back up to speed and onto the finish. Well, the World Cup race is never over until Daniel Momenti of Italy has his say, and he's coming through the midsection of the course. And look at the contrast to the Campbell Walsh style. Campbell much smaller, much lighter. Daniel much bigger, much stronger, more powerful, bowling right through the waves, taking a 2-second touch right there. That could be a factor at the podium here at the end of the race. So it's Great Britain's Walsh, the gold, Italy's Momenti, the silver, and Germany's Grimm, the bronze.
I had really good feeling in the boat today. I had a good first run, the third fastest in the semi-final, and then small mistakes, and I looked at the video, made the good plan for the final, and it worked perfectly, really nice. This is the first World Cup race I've ever won. I've been second, third before, so it's nice to win.
The final class of the day, men's doubles canoe, here at the World Cup in Chunovo, anchored by the sport's first three-time Olympic champions, the Hochschorner brothers of Slovakia. First boat on the course is China's Hu and Shu. Now these are two people in the boat. Both are kneeling and both are using one-bladed paddles, and the idea is to hit as many of the strokes together in synchronization as possible. Troquenet and Voimont, the doubles canoe entry from France, working their way into the upstream gate as designated by the red pole and around the green downstream pole on the far side of the river. Working well together, a good experience for them in Chunovo. Two kayakers turned doubles canoeists for Great Britain, Bally and Stott. Great edge work in the red upstream gate on the right-hand side of the river, jetting over to the near side upstream. Good teamwork, and This crew has become very seasoned veterans of the doubles canoe circuit, but they have their work cut out for them here in Bratislava. Big crashing waves, pushing the boat every which way and sideways, picking up a 2-second penalty on the way to the finish. Italy's Bonetti and Mosero dropping in at the top of the course, leaning back around these green downstream gates, working together very well. Veterans of a couple of Olympic Games, paddling nicely. These guys take a very artistic approach to using the water, being quiet, figuring out where the energy is, and then putting the power on the way to the finish. Germany's Schroeder and Hens getting some valuable World Cup experience here in Canoe. Nice work together, a very quiet style, very patient, working together very nicely, and they're going to be pleased with that run. Another German doubles canoe, Becker and Hens, showing the program's excellent depth, and this team in particular looking to rebound from a tough performance in France last week, and they're doing it now, working together much better and working with the water much better this week too, where that is a key to paddling Canoe well. The local whitewater fans anxiously anticipating the first Slovak C2 on the course in this final, and Batik Kuchera making their way through the top section of the course. Young team working together very well. They know the water here, so they take a more relaxed style, a little more patient. That seems to be the style that has set the pace for the Slovak program that has led to gold medals in the Olympic Games. But when it comes to gold medals, nobody knows more than the Hochschorner brothers on the course right now, agilely moving through that flush downstream gate where the poles are parallel to the current. Pavel in the bow or the front of the boat, setting the pace. Peter in the stern or the back of the boat, following his brother's lead. They know this course so well. They make it look so easy, but take my word for it, nobody works harder than the Hochschorners do. And they've got 3 Olympic gold medals to show for it, and they'll be going for number 4 in London. But right now, they are making their way to the finish line of World Cup number 2 here in Canoe, trying to make up for a terrible performance in France last week. Moving towards the big drop, the crowd is just delighted to see the Hochschorners paddling well, down through the big drop, keeping the boat high and dry on a clean, fast line to the finish. If anybody has the Hochschorners in their sights, it's their Slovakian teammates, the Skantar brothers, who are shooting for a repeat performance of last week, gold medal in France, going for another one here in Canoe. The Skantar brothers bring a much lighter, quicker style, attacking all the time, all the way to the finish. They want to try something different to beat the Hochschorners. But it's Slovakia's Hochschorner and Hochschorner holding on for gold. Their teammates, Skantar and Skantar, for the silver, and Germany's Becker and Hens for the bronze.
We are lucky because we had so bad times last week in Nepal, and these are our satisfactions, and we are lucky we win.
A new week on the World Cup changes the rankings thanks to some gold medal performances by familiar champions. The stage is now set for a dramatic World Cup finale at Whitewater Slalom's original Olympic channel, Augsburg, Germany. We'll see you then.